Well, hi and welcome to my shop. Thanks so much for joining me here as I'm just going to start work on this radio now after giving it a bit of a test yesterday. So I think the first thing I want to do is restore the string. Oh my, if you've done a string on a radio like this, then you know the kind of challenges that might be involved in this. I've done maybe 15 or 20 strings, maybe more, many of which I found harrowing experiences. And what I've learned over the last years in doing this kind of work is that this is all about staying calm, cool, and collected, and taking things one slow step at a time, and not trying to make too many things happen all at once when you're trying to put a string on a radio like this. So this particular radio, this style, is not the most difficult to work on. If you've looked at European radios, these great big European radios, yikes. So this isn't the end of the world doing this. One of the complications here, a little bit of a complication, is that this big front panel, of course, is blocking everything here. We can't really get at it this way, but in fact, you can get at it down here, and of course, you can get at it back here. So if you're inclined to remove this plate, I would say don't, unless the frustration level gets so high for you, you need to strip more off the radio to get better and better access to the pulleys in that. But I think you're just increasing the complications in the work. So it would be a good thing to follow a stringing diagram. If you're going to try this without a stringing diagram, get ready to get it wrong. And I have definitely seen radios that have reached my bench where when you turn the control this way, the pointer goes the other way. It's just simple things like getting the string on backwards down here and stuff like that. So, okay, and the string I use, this is a special string. This is a string with no stretch in it at all. It's might as well be a piece of wire practically. So I'll be putting this string on. This particular string I have is rather thin. It's probably be better to have a slightly heavier string, but this will be fine. This will work just fine. And I think the next thing to do is to get a look at the diagram for the stringing of this radio and see if there's any statements or hints in it that I should be aware of. Let's go look at that. And in fact, we'll take a quick look through the manual here. This is a wonderful manual for this radio. And that is exactly the radio that's sitting behind me. I don't think there's anything particularly special here. 5Y4 rectifier, I think we already know that. Two 6K, 6 output tubes. Ooh, 6 SF5. Now that's a little unusual. 6 SF5. All the rest are very typical tubes. Okay. Power output 5 watts, maximum 9 watts. You know, this is a lot of volume coming out of most speakers at that point. Impedance, 3.4 ohms. So it's like a 4 ohm speaker. That's surprising. I would have guessed it's 8. General circuit arrangement. So here's the kinds of things we've got to help us here. We've got this nice diagram laying out the major components on the top. This loop assembly doesn't match the radio loop. This is a different looking loop, but it may work exactly the same. Same wiring, everything. But the actual antenna loop is different in this radio than that diagram. It's the alignment procedure here, all laid out very nicely. On this radio, even though the radio is out of the cabinet and the dial glass has stayed in the cabinet, I don't have it on the chassis. There is a scale on the back of the tuning wheel that you can use to do the alignment. So this is the basic schematic. Okay. And what else have they got for us in here? Excellent. Here's a wiring diagram. This is a very, very handy element. You don't find this in an awful lot of service manuals. This is really helpful. Excellent. You have a chart of expected voltages on the different tubes. Another excellent tool to use. I generally make insufficient use of this kind of information when I'm working. Here, notice they're mentioning 1,000 ohm per volt meter. That's because in the old days, a lot of shops had lousy equipment, and they would use a lousy voltmeter to make these measurements. They get different readings, but the readings they're getting are actually okay. It's just the meter they're using is different. So they specify which kind of meter you use here. And that's actually a bad meter. That's not a very good one. 1,000 ohm per volt. It's not a terribly good one. Push buttons. Here we are. Rear, center, front. RCF. Rear, center, front. Push button adjustment. Hey, there we are. Stringing diagram. This is an excellent manual. It contains everything. Hey, look, there's two strings, right? There's one specifically for the band changer, and another string driving the pointer. Excellent. And then we have a parts list. This can be handy too, especially in a radio that's been worked on. You're not sure if the right part is in it. Excellent. And that's the end of it. So this is really what we want to stare at right here. So what are we going to get out of this? So there's nothing really spectacular about this. It's pretty standard stuff. Spring on one end. Right here it says start. Start right here. I'm even giving you a hint as to how to do this. Start here. Go through a hole and around. See these little tabs that are marked here? These are hints on which way the string goes on the drum. It goes the way that would be least damaging to the string. So if you look at this, you can kind of figure that out. You want to go over the sharp edge. You want to go over the little ramp that's been bent here. Around. Go around. Just comes right off. Back around here. So the string is not actually wrapped right around this pulley at any point. Ooh, I'll take that back. Where's the position of this to start? Well, this I think the wheel here is showing the position that you start in. You start with these two down low, and as we saw, as I showed you, that's because you can access this through the front of the radio. Start here. Now, is the spring still in there, or did I lose the spring? We'll take a look and see if the original spring is still around. Just for interest's sake, look at this one. The spring is wrapped right around the shaft here, or something. That's different, but we don't have to worry about this. This part here where it says rear, what it's trying to tell you is you bring the string down at the rear of this, and then you wrap it coming forward, and then this leaves on the front. So this is where you get the tuning knob switched around backwards. If you get this wrong. There's also a effect here where when you turn this knob one way, it tends to tighten the string, and when you turn it the other way, it tends to slack off the string. So if you don't have enough overall tension, the slack off direction will be too much. Slack off, and the slack in here will reduce friction. You'll lose drive. So that can happen. Direction of travel. Just one way? Why they show this huge arrow up here, one way? Boy, the guy really liked his arrow, didn't he? Look at that. That's excuse me, what about all these other poor little arrows? They must have been really hurt emotionally when this big guy showed up with a tail and everything. Why so important? But maybe when this is turned into this position, the pointer, if it were on here, would be down here. Maybe that's all they're trying to say. Because obviously the direction of travel of this is in both directions. So that must be what it is. Drum shown with gang at maximum capacity. Okay, so that's an interesting way of putting it. Gang capacitor at maximum capacity. Let's check that out. So if it's not obvious to you now, it should be obvious when I tell you I'm taking my time with this. I'm just proceeding very slowly, one step at a time. My hope is I'm just going to go right, just like the last one of these I did, right through the whole process, right to the end, smooth as could be. Because I stayed calm and took my time. Okay, so I've seen the spring. The spring is in there. Let's see if we can get a little better look at this. Okay, so that's a look at the lower part of the drum. And I'm just going to turn it here. It said maximum capacity. Maximum capacity would be like that. What do we get? Well, I don't see those things. But here's the two string holes. One here, and one over here. There's the spring and the so the other grip should be coming into view right up in here. Oh, there it is. So it doesn't quite come down into view, but this one does. So let's get the spring and the string out of there. The spring is probably fine. Probably nothing, no reason not to continue using it. Here we are. The spring, yeah, this is just fine. Nothing wrong with that. So in some radios, this spring will be sprung. It will have been pulled beyond its strain point, right? Strain and stress in metals, right? Stress of metal, it goes back. So you can bend it, it goes back. Strain a piece of metal, you've bent it to the point where it doesn't go back anymore. So you don't want to strain these things by yanking them too far. This has got a lot of grip power on this. And look, there happens to be a shot of that other spring that's wrapped right around the band switch thing here. I wouldn't want to get in and fool with that. So they have a much heavier string here too. And this is probably mechanically a much tougher go than this. This should be easy to move. So that's a good chance for me to check that actually. We get the junk string out of here now. I can't pull the knot through the little hole here. No, it must still be tied on. In a spot where I really can't see it. Huh. Well, so this is how the frustrations start. And they just build from here, but you can't let that happen. You can't let the frustration build. I can't even get the string off to start with too. Okay, let's try another tool. I have a special tool I call my pusher puller, just specifically for this kind of work. So this end just has a hook on it, which I bent, but this end, that's my pusher puller. This pusher part is really, really handy. I think you need something like this to get through this kind of work. I like to push this off the little gripping tab, but I can't even see it. Can't even see it. Can't even get a glimpse of it. Maybe I'm going to take the front panel off in the end. Well, let's see if we can push it off with my pusher. There it is. Oh, it broke when I pushed on it. So this, not a lot of life left in this. If you're thinking of saving this stuff for the next radio, no, don't do that. Anything is better than this old string, which is going to be ready. This is just crap, I'm sure. You want to keep the spring, don't lose the spring. Okay, so the first step where it said start. Just going to stop for a few minutes here before I continue. Okay, so we can watch the diagram now that's up on the screen, or look at it while proceeding. I'm getting some little pieces of tape ready here. I'm going to use to hold the string in different places so it won't come off. There we are. I think we're ready. So now it looks, it says start with the non-spring loaded end. Okay. I'm going to try not to cut my string until I absolutely need to, simply because I like to preserve the string. I don't want to cut it, in the worst case, cut it too short. And then you don't find out until you've done a half an hour's string work here that you've cut it too short. Okay, I don't think this is possible. I don't think this is going to work. I think I've made too small a loop here, and I'm heading for tremendous frustration. So we're just going to do it again, because I'm not looking for ways to get frustrated while doing this. Believe me. Anything we can do to avoid frustration. Make a much bigger loop. There we go. So, it can't come off later because it's going to be under tension. It's constantly pulled on, so it's not going to come off. Okay, a little better chance of getting it on that now. Nice. There we go. Down the hole. The hook is somewhere. It's not even visible. It's down here. Looking at the other one, it's got to be down here. So I got to go all the way down there. Oh my gosh! Now how am I going to get that hooked onto the hook? By luck. Okay, there's a shot of the string and the hook. And let's see if I can make this go on it. Get it down the right distance. From here I'm going to have to help it somehow. So the string is dropped through a hole, and the hole is acting as a fulcrum. So as I wiggle the top of the string here above the hole, the string is moving in the opposite direction underneath. And then, just to make it more complicated, the image you're looking at is upside down and backwards. Upside down anyway. So it's right there. That's the spot. Now I gotta somehow... How am I going to do that? I need a tool I can push with. Let's try this. I do it through the hole here. Lower. Lower. Wow, okay. My camera's wandering off here. No, that's not going to work like that. What about down like this? I can't get anywhere near it. Down like that. What about up from below, where the camera is? Oh boy, I don't know. Hey, where'd everything go? Gosh, I had it right on it. Well, it may look like it's right on it, but it may not be. Let's stick my finger in there. Take these plates off the front. Take the front plate off. And I may just have to, in the end. What's on there? Oh, there's a piece of the old string on there. Oh, for crying out loud. Does that matter? Uh-oh, you hear that? Frustration level's going up already, so this is already. I'm losing my religion already here. That's too soon, too. No, this isn't going to grab anything. The camera's giving all kinds of false impressions of things here. So taking the front plate off. So take the front plate off and two pulleys come off with it, and you can't really complete this work with the front plate off. So what would you do? You get the string half on, put the plate back on, the string will be off again. You know, that's the kind of frustration I want to try to avoid. What about loosening the plate and swinging it out a bit at the risk of bending it? I could get a little more clearance here. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So what I could release these screws, and I could pull the plate this way a little bit, and just try and, just torque it on here on this side a little bit. Oh, don't take it off. Pull it out, get that string in place, then push it back and screw it back in. The thing is, I don't think I'll get enough clearance to make a big difference. If I pull this plate out far enough, it's going to bend on here. Then we'll have additional trouble. Calm, cool, collected. That's what will make this work. That's why drinking a cup and a half of coffee was a great idea before doing this. Okay, we're down there again. See if I can get a better, can I get a better camera shot of it? Is there some way? I think the answer is no. The camera has to be jammed up here. Okay, I got better lighting, I got better everything. Let's see if we can just make this work now. My lasso is not shaped right here. Fortunately, when I drop the lasso through the little hole at the top, it ends up not big enough. Well, that might work. I got it. There it is. Okay, now, before I jump up and down, this will come off before I know it. Unless I'm careful. Is it set good? Set right in there. Okay, great. Let's just switch. Hold on here while I switch cameras. Okay, now I don't want to lose the tension on the string. It's just laying there right at the moment. So I'm going to tape the string down in a position where there's tension before I do anything else. Some tension anyway. Oop, wrong part of the string. There. How do you like that? Easier said than done. Okay. Now, a couple things I have to decide. There's 2 tracks on the big wheel. Which track is this string supposed to be in? And it says right up on the instructions, it tells you. So we're coming out from the start point, making a left turn over the pulley, and it says in front groove. Okay. Find the string. Oh my gosh, that's all I got left? This is bad news. Really? Well, maybe, really. This is supposed to drop, so see, I cut this thing, I think I've cut this like 8 inches too short, is what's happened. Just what I was afraid of. Exactly what I was afraid of doing. I've done it. Okay, I take a little break now. And calm down. Okay, well, I'm pretty sure this is too short, and I think what happened was I didn't notice the capacitor had rotated, and that is what led me to cut it short. Way short. Now, can I use this to determine the correct amount of string? I need another 6 inches, but knowing the way I do things, maybe 12 would be better. Another foot on top of this. It's going to be a couple inches and a couple inches. Put 6 inches more string. Now, can you tie more string on? No. It's almost certainly not going to work because a knot is going to get caught on stuff. So once in a while you might be able to do something out in the middle here, but generally speaking, no knots. I'm just trying to make sure I'm not making a compounding error here. So okay, so I got to fish the entire string out and start over, and this time I'll use this to measure an appropriate length, and I'll cut it about 6 inches longer and start over. Brat. Okay, so there's the exact length and then extra extra. Okay, now start the whole process over again. Of course, now I'm really skilled at doing this. Sure. Keep thinking those positive thoughts. Well, I got such a nice camera shot here, I thought, okay, let's record it. Oh, this is such a small loop I've done. Oh, man. Just grab loop a little bigger. Boy. Oh, I got it. Okay, we're away to the races here. So we come over the top in the front groove, around and down. This will be a little easier now. I don't have a big spool sitting on the end of the string here. Okay, around and down. Capacitor is remaining closed. And we want to go over top. Boy. Want to go top. Now, we reach the control here. It's interesting, on the camera this looks blue, but in my eye this is as black as can be. That's quite interesting. Everything's interesting. Okay, so we come to the knob, we go over the top, starting at the front and working our way back. Kind of backwards style you'd want to do it here. All the way through. And at least one more. And we kind of come up from the back. Grip on it, pull it out. Now, we're up here. Okay, tension. Oh, I see it now. The capacitor has moved on me. Ooh. Let's put it back where it's supposed to be. There. There we go. Now this comes up from the back, up and over, and heads for the pulley. From the back, up and over. Okay, so again, I'm going to go not right on the wheel. I'm going to go in behind the wheel for now. Same thing on the other side. Over here, around behind the wheel. Wait a minute. Am I supposed to come over the top? No, this is not right. Not right. We come over the wheel here, on the big wheel. Yeah, what I'm saying doesn't make sense. So be it. So it's supposed to come up in the rear groove. I'm in the front groove. How did that happen? Okay, we're in the rear groove. Capacitor's still in the right position. We go over, under, here, come back over there, and now we're ready to drop in. And we're dropping in on the front groove. That's perfect. And then I'm going to have to face the music on how to attach the spring. Okay, so I'm going to think again about removing this panel, because the situation has become really difficult here. If I remove this panel, these wheels will stay. Okay, I'm going to do something I've never done before. I'm going to remove the panel. Oh, jumper. Bits and pieces of metal there came out of that. The washer on here, there's no washer on here. Am I the first one to do this? Okay, I wonder why they would have. Why would they have a washer on that? Wow, these screws are really tightened in there. Learn a lesson here I don't want to learn. Well, you should never take these panels off. Wow. Let's get even a bigger screwdriver here. Creepers. It's going to give us access to this little panel here too. That's a good thing. Maybe this is a good thing in the end. Looks like these lights have been changed with inappropriate lights. I'm not sure. Okay, so one of the surprises here is the magic eyes coming with it. Maybe I can leave it on there. Maybe, let's just try. Let's just try. Undo the least possible here. So all I gotta do is just get it kind of out of the way. I don't have to. That's lovely. You can sit like that. Well, I think I just saved myself. Okay, so we're about to drop the string through here. Then I've got to tie the spring onto it appropriately. So we need the proper string length now. Put these on the wheels here. Put a wee bit of tension on it. It's come off the big wheel. Hold the fort. on. Everybody back on. Okay. Yep. Put this on correctly. Falling off over here. Come back. Oh, don't want to. Okay, still, don't worry about it. It fell off over here. I can't deal with it. Can't deal with it. Okay, down through. What I'm aiming to do is put a mark on the string where the spring should be tied. That's what I think I'm about to do. Now I think everything is done correctly. Let's take a quick look up there at the diagram. Off this wheel around, down, sprung to that clip. So we'll grab the spring. It's a long spring. Where'd the spring go? Come on, spring. Lost track of the spring at this point. Go. Grab some tape here. Grab some tape. Tape that like that. Find the spring. Here's the spring. I found the spring. Lucky. Lucky I found it. So it's a pretty long spring. Why does it look like this is the tab that was used and this one was not used? Why does it look like that? I don't know. Okay, so with the string on all the pulleys and its proper length being displayed, we want the spring to come all the way up to here. So we're tying it on way up here. Tying it on way up there. Okay, should have my pen ready for this. I don't want to tie it right here. Come on. Okay, there's a black mark there now. Double check. So I'm going to be the spring, and I'm going to turn the tuning knob and just see if everything doesn't turn. It doesn't want to turn back, but that's okay because it's me pulling on the string here. Okay, and double check with the spring. I think we're good. So now I want to tie this spring on right here. think like that. It's pretty good. Puts a fair bit of tension on it. I'll lock it in. For me here. I think we got too much tension on that. Maybe not. Okay, so we'll rotate it, and that should even out the string tension. Now, doesn't seem to even it out, but it's good. Putting too much tension on it can pull things around, especially pull this wheel into a bad spot. But everything looks good. And while we have this plate off, ooh, I almost disconnected the other string. I didn't think about that. Did not think about that. Okay, let's see if we can put this back on. Yeah. So the other string, the band string and spring are pulling on this thing a little bit. Now to let something come off. Seems good. Oh, it did come off down here. Why is this so slack? Because it's not screwed in place yet. Let's stick a screw in here. This side. Yeah, that puts the tension into it. A lot of tension, actually. To this. In on an angle here. There we go. Okay. Now that other screw made a break for it. So far his escape plan has worked. So we're going to leave him aside for a moment. I'd like this to settle into the same threads that were cut. This is a self-tapping screw. As it screwed in initially, it's cutting its own threads. I don't want it to cut new threads if I can stop it. kind of turn the screw in the reverse direction and feel for the drop when the threads match. Right there. Ooh, yeah, we're cutting new threads for sure. Okay, over here. Yeah, I better find that missing screw. Okay. Lovely. Get right in just fine. This guy's good too. Did I get this on a little too quick? No. I don't think so. It's solid. There we are. Oh, you know what I'm missing? The pointer. Put the pointer on. First, I'm gonna clean this plate off here first. Okay. First, I vacuumed off the excess dust. The rest of this has to be washed off. Ooh. Turns out there's a nice brown panel here. Definitely has some, I don't, what do you call it, rust coming through, or a little bit of failure in the paint there, but it's not bad. This is hard to see because the dial glass is in front of it, so you don't really get a good look at this plate, but the darker I make it, the harder it is to see it, too. This is just plain water on the cloth here. I'm not putting any soap on it. I'm watching really carefully while I'm doing this to make sure there's no paint coming off. Sometimes, well, I've been surprised in the past. Very unfortunate surprises. So, okay, that's good. Pointer. So the old string is still on the pointer here. It's glued on right there. A lot of these, they don't glue them. That's just a little different here. Good. Oh, I thought I broke the glue off. I broke the string. Yeah, I broke the string. The string is still there. Does that matter? A little bit of string there. Probably doesn't really matter. So these, you know, gluing them in place like this is maybe not the wisest idea. Occasionally these pointers, well, I'll take that back. Part of the alignment process is positioning the pointer, and you know, once you glue it to the string, you can't reposition it. So obviously you would glue it after. Another thing too is you never want to lubricate. Don't put any oil up here. Don't do anything like that. Nothing like that. It'll leak down and look terrible. So we'll just do this roughly, and then we can refine the position later. So, okay, so the string is all the way one way. If I turn it the other way, it's heading this way, so this should be down here, about there. It up in here is a little tricky with a string under a lot of tension like this one is. If I put that on, well, I couldn't really put it on without tension. Where's my fancy tool? And I quickly cleaned up my shop there. Let's try this one. So you know what, this pointed thing is going to tear the string. Don't want any tears in the string. Where did my oh so important tool go? I've lost track of my pusher puller here. Okay. It feels like it's going to cut the string, this thing. It's a pretty ideal tool. There's nothing to it. Now, is this on tight enough that it won't just sit and the string move under it? So first we'll move it. I'm going to put my finger on it and break it, and nothing goes anywhere. So even this is enough to hold it in place. What I was going to say is, when you go to reposition one of these on the string, I may not have to with this one. It may have lucked onto the right spot. But if you do go to move it, what people would tend to want to do is grab, like if you want to slide this on the string this way, you would tend to grab this part of the string here with a pair of pliers or something to stabilize it, and then pull this way. No, don't do that. Do the opposite. Hold the string here and push this towards it, and what happens is you slack off all this stuff when you do that, and it'll slide. So I don't need to demonstrate it, but if you do the opposite, if you try to hold the string still here and then push this way, you actually increase the tension all through here, and it grabs harder and harder. Counterintuitive. There we are. Excuse me. The radio has a new string on it. It's a new lease on life. Some excess string in here that I didn't trim off. Not the best sounding radio yet. I'm watching for the string doubling up on itself in here. When that happens, when the string doubles up on itself, folds over itself, or wraps on top of itself, the way you feel that, like assuming you're considering buying a radio and you're turning this to see if it works, and you get about here and suddenly you can feel it like, tighten up, and you're stuck. You know? And then if you do this, you can move further, and then you get stuck. That's a sign of the string doubling up on here. That's a sign that somebody's done something with the string. Maybe replaced it incorrectly, or something like that's going on. These bobbins are also designed so the string will slide on the shaft a bit without, it's a little hard to see. See it actually happen. I'm going to watch really closely. What's happened is it's walked its way to the back flange, and it's up against the back flange. So as I turn it, the new string is feeding in here, and the string that's wrapped around the spool here is moving forward to accommodate the string going in. There, you see the movement there? So what happened right there when you saw that shift out? I reached the end of the run, and when I turned it further, I actually slackened the string briefly, and the slack was enough to release it here and allow it to slide to a more neutral position in the middle of this U-shaped bobbin. When those things don't work right, when it doesn't slide around properly the way it's intended, you get string on top of string. It would happen right now. This back string would end up on top of the run of string in here, and it would tighten up. If you force it beyond that, you break the string, it'll all cut itself here, or it'll just all start sliding, you won't get anywhere. But the thing is, I'm looking at this right now, you can see it. But normally, of course, you can't see any of this. And if you're looking at, hey, should I buy this radio? And you tune this thing and it sticks here, and it has that, not like it's banging into a wall, but like it's suddenly tightening up. That's just a sign of a string problem. Okay. Enough string for today. We're done. Here we go.